everyone. Welcome to our GALAH show. Hi Boston, Rhode Island, Ukraine, Israel, Mexico. Thank you so much for watching us. Thank you. I really appreciate your letters and the phone calls and emails. I can see you're very interested about our show, the arts. What we talk about, you express your concern about the music, about different stuff. And today, I know I'll have a surprise for you. I have a special guest, not just because he's talented, he's a successful young man, because he came from Russia, from city Odessa. Max LUBARSKY. He's associate director, he's associate professor in Berkeley, in our favorite school in Boston. Hi Max, hi, how are you?
Good, hello,
hi,
thank you very much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Well, I would like to have a couple questions for you. First of all, can you just let us know a little bit about your background?
My musical background starts at back in Odessa, Ukraine, where I studied at LUBARSKY Music School, where my dad was my teacher for 10 years. And after that, I went to Conservatory, Odessa State Conservatory, where I studied for, I guess, 5 years. And after that, well, before that, I've been in love with jazz for quite a few years already and been touring and playing with my group. And I wanted to pursue jazz education. So to make a shorter story, I applied to Berklee College of Music and got accepted and got a very high scholarship, which allowed me to come to Berkeley and study at Berkeley. So that was kind of my educational journey.
So where is this started? You know, your parents musicians?
My dad is a piano player, yes.
Oh,
he's a pianist.
right.
My mom, she's not a musician, although she's kind of connected to the world of art and performances and concerts. She organizes concerts and things like that.
Oh, okay. All right, I see.
Tell me, Max, how it's happened? Where is was turning point of your studying music, studying piano on a high level in Odessa Conservatory? Study piano as a classical piano player, suddenly turn over to jazz music. Usually, you know, I know in conservatories, the teachers keeping their students from bad influence.
More conservative.
They do.
How it's happened?
I don't think it happens.
LUBARSKY.
I don't think it happens as much anymore, but it definitely used to be. And I know from my dad's stories that at that time and he's, although he never really studied jazz in particular, but he always was very interested in this kind of music, in songs and playing by ear. And I probably, for me, that's how it started, by just following him and playing songs. And he worked with many performers, singers, theaters. So that was kind of the pre-jazz era of me doing a lot of this kind of stuff, working with actors, accompanying different songs, playing. So in that case, I was lucky because I was under his wing for 10 years. So that was part of my life. No one prohibited me to do that kind of music, and rather encouraged doing so. But in generally, yes, I think, especially at that times when I started the school and from my dad's stories, it definitely was not encouraged. And his time, I think, if you played jazz or any kind of light music, what it used to be called, that was actually really bad.
It's more legal.
And was looked really badly at from the point of teachers and from the point of school in general.
Okay, I understand. You came to Berkeley, yes? You're excited, you study and everything. After the graduation of Berkeley, why you stick with Boston? Because people usually going to New York and, of course, you know, the Los Angeles. LA, Boston?
Actually, I wanted to go to New York, and it so happened that I didn't fully go to New York. And I like Boston. It's a wonderful city. It has a lot of amazing musicians, and a lot of them kind of commute between. I did for a while commute between Boston and New York practically every week, going back and forth, playing there, playing here, which was fun. And nowadays I don't do it as much anymore because I just got so busy here that I can't allow myself doing that. But New York is a great city, and I think definitely a very inspiring city to even be at for a while. But Boston has a lot to offer as well in terms of the level of music, in terms of the level of musicians. I wish there were more places, performance places, which unfortunately, it's a whole different conversation, but they tend to kind of disappear rather than appear. And New York, maybe New York has the same tendency, but definitely New York, the starting point is different. So it definitely, New York has so many more places that
Tell
has
me a little
music.
bit more about your performance. Okay, you study. Do you have a chance, to perform during your study? How this started, your piano? Did you play with some different musicians, or you play solo?
You mean at Berkeley?
Yeah, during the Berkeley and after Berkeley. How you just
I think
communicate with people, you know, you just...
Well, I think this is one of the most amazing things about Berkeley, and because as you think of a school, you're going to study with teachers, but I think 50% of, or even more, but at least 50% of education comes from
Overseas?
Overseas? No, actually from communicating and playing and with other students, musicians, because the most unique opportunity that you have is to encounter music of different cultures, of different levels and of different genres through people who are the sources of this music. So
so this kind of, the more green, open door, for students play
so you're constantly meeting people, from all over the world.
Wonderful.
And musicians, I always say musicians are different nation. They're not connected. They're just a different nation. There's no separation. Doesn't matter whether people can speak English, can communicate verbally, but they can come together and play. And that's
they talk music.
Yeah, they talk music. You just get together and you play. And that's I think one of the most amazing things that Berkeley has to offer, because if you're interested in Afro-Cuban music, you play with people from Cuba. You're interested in Brazilian music, you play people from Brazil. You're interested in Balkan music, you play people from there. And people they're the source of this music. So you learn tremendous amount of not only the music but culture from communicating with these people.
I would like to ask you, how many people from overseas right now?
Berkeley?
The percentage,
because we have
I don't have the latest statistics, but it's definitely over 50%.
Okay, a lot,
A lot of people.
That's enrich
absolutely.
the culture and process of education.
Absolutely, and it seems that overall Berkeley is definitely moving towards expanding the international culture in terms of they constantly adding ensembles.
Yes.
A good friend of mine, Annette Phillips, she's been working there for about 5 years. She started an amazing Indian ensemble. She's from India, and she had people from India coming over and performing, and they connecting, and then now they're establishing some kind of connection. I don't exactly know with the place in India. Same happens with Africa. Same happens with Mediterranean, and all kind of music is being explored and worked on.
We have a couple of students from Berkeley a few years ago. They're very interesting guys.
Very interesting guys.
And my question is, have you met anything different in educational process in Ukraine, where you come from, in Conservatory, and in Berkeley? What is good? What is you would?
Plus and minuses.
That's right. Or that's all the same?
It's a hard question. It's very different. It's definitely
Absolutely
very different. Very
that's
different.
what I wanted to hear.
Certain things, it takes time to adjust, because when you come from there, it's a very different environment, very different structure. And I think over years, I started to appreciate both, because when I came to Berkeley, first I was in, you know, in a shock of amazement. After that, I was going through something like, you know, trying to figure out how this whole thing works, because certain things were just not what I'm used to.
That's right.
But then overall, when you start looking at it from kind of as a whole
Outside.
picture, you see it's a slightly different structure, because I think in conservatory, the private instruction, the teacher is kind of the main focus of the whole thing, and everything else is very important. But
As
really
your daddy or mommy.
right, right. It's practically your that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
your mother. It definitely has that as well at Berkeley, but it's an overall structure and the combination of things that form you as a artist and musician, because the nature of jazz or improvisational music is so multi-angled that it really takes a lot of different sides in
It
order
would be
to
self-responsibility.
Right.
Nobody pushing you anywhere.
Right, right. And that's another thing. Depends on the teachers, you know.
Yes, yeah,
Now,
yes.
by being there, I can say, you know, I'm definitely probably still have the foundation of conservatory, so I tend to be, and I find myself kind of fathering the students more than I should. But in general, yeah, it's more of. Which I honestly believe that's good. The approach is more, I'm here to help you. I'm here to share with you and direct you, but it's up to you to take it and develop it. And if you know, if the student wants to go and the student wants to develop and interested, he'll get a lot out of it.
I
and
see.
the students who don't,
No.
so be it.
Max, I would like to find out, you know, tell me about your first performance in your life. And
Yes.
because, you know, there's some people said, oh, I don't want to do nothing, you know, there's some people, you know, I would like to hear this experience, a little bit about your performance career, you know?
My first performance.
Because
that's-
you know why? Sorry, my interruption. Because you, after conservatory, you've been in many countries. You know, you play a lot of classical music, jazz
Tell
music.
us more.
We want to hear about this.
My first performance, that's hard. I can't remember my first performance. I mean, my probably official first performance was the concert at LUBARSKY Music School.
Okay.
And when I was in the first grade, and as far as I remember, I was so nervous that I was running up and down the stairs.
Do you remember what you played?
No, no. I should ask my dad.
So, but no video, you know, no phones, you know, like right
not
now,
at that
everyone
time.
make
No,
a video.
No, nothing. But I don't even remember it. It's my parents told me that. So the way the school is structured, there is a main staircase, and then there is a what we call the black staircase, or like a back staircase, and then there's a concert hall, the second large concert hall, and a small concert hall on the fourth floor where you perform until you get to like fourth grade, and then graduate into the main concert hall. And from what I remember, what they told me is that I was getting so nervous, so I started running down back stairs and up main stairs until my mom just stopped me. And but the thing is that I think that's the good thing about that school is that the environment that is created is so serious and so pressured in a good way that you feel such a serious responsibility when you perform there. So, but I think that was my first performance. But since then, I love performing. I know there are a lot of people.
About your going to different countries after conservatory.
Yes, a little bit more, you know, how you touring.
Yeah, I've toured. I was lucky enough to tour a lot in the different combinations and different environment. I've toured while being in school. I went to Israel. I went to Czechoslovakia. I went to. Can't remember all the places, but and later on the conservatory. Yeah, conservatory.
Yes, because
I've
very
toured
impressive.
in France. I've toured in. Italy, I've toured in Spain.
So how does this project, you know, the born, you know, they say you different people, or you have the same all the time? From school, you know, how does it, because, you know, that still, it's when we can see this, so many said, oh my gosh, you know, too young, you know, for this information.
It's different projects. I've toured with by the end of school, the beginning of conservatory, I had my own jazz group that I've been playing with and touring with, and performing at competitions, festivals. So that was part of it. I also was invited several times as a solo performer. I've toured in France in a group that was very interesting. It was created in the conservatory by, it was a mainly classical. It was a sextet with 2 singers, and we went to about 30-something cities in France, performing both classical, secular music, more classical music that like arias, and also some kind of form of folk music and some sides of jazz. So it was like an interesting wide range concert. And when I moved here, I toured. I just a few months ago I came back from China. I was there, which was very interesting.
Yeah, we saw.
I toured with the great singer Gabrielle Goodman.
Yeah.
She's also professor at Berklee College of Music, and we've.
The older guys, the youngsters.
Yeah, there was the people who joined us there in China, but we've actually performed in Russia a couple of times. We went to Moscow for a festival and some performances, and then last year we went to St. Petersburg. We did some master classes there, and performance. It was really wonderful.
So what do you? I'm sorry, Hanina. What have you done locally? You know, what do you most of it?
Local in Boston?
Yeah, Boston.
In Boston,
People should know where to find you.
Where
so
to
there are a lot
find,
of
you know,
there are a lot
people
of
who chase
places.
you.
I've practically, I think by now I can say I've performed at probably all the places that there are in
Available
Boston.
in Boston, yes.
And nowadays, as we talked earlier, unfortunately, the amount of places in Boston tend to decrease, which is unfortunate. And we all hope that the curve will change and it will start going up. Places do open, fortunately. Not as many as close, but places do open. There's some really nice places in Boston that there are nice clubs like Scholars and the Regatta Bar.
Yes,
I performed that, and they're really, really wonderful places. Ryle's Jazz Club, which is also very nice. And then there are places that are more casual, places like Beehive. Beat Hotel. There's a new place just opened up, and I think it's a really nice place called Thelonious Monkfish in Cambridge. Which was just opened up by the owner is a big lover of jazz, and he built a really nice club, and they serve sushi as well. So
Nice.
it's a very nice place and a very
Well,
cozy.
dear viewers, please, they will gonna put all information about the website and everything. Please find out. And the next time when Max will be performing, welcome everyone, and I will actually be planning, to come over. Okay, honey.
Max, I have another question.
5 minutes.
To be a musician on a high level, which you are, there is a conflict in mindset, playing classical, big pieces of music, and playing jazz music. It's a different approach with your mindset, or for you, it's just the music.
There's definitely, I think there's both. So it's hard. The longer I'm being in this world of music, the less I tend to separate those genres. I don't think they are different, but they're not as different. And I think, I'm sure a lot of people would argue that, but I think the word jazz nowadays is so undefined and open that although there's tradition, and we just had a conversation with a colleague of mine from Berkeley about what is jazz at this point, and we kind of came with this definition. I always say that jazz is a movement. Jazz is a constant change. That's really what jazz is all about.
And challenge.
Right. So to say that jazz is that's wrong, because jazz is constantly changing. And any music and art, and they're supposed to. Otherwise, it's not art anymore. It's just mass production. But there's definitely tradition that you want to learn and know and understand, and then go wherever it takes you. But in terms of the genre styles, it's all music. with different components and different traditions, but it's all music. Now, in terms of performing, there are definitely different aspects. You know, classical music, it's a more specific preparation, and but I really think that, and that's what I tell my students, that you need to approach classical music as jazz, and then jazz as classical music, in the sense that oftentimes you hear, oh, classical music is boring. It's, you know, I always play the same thing, and it's not true. Or at least I strongly don't believe that it's true, because classical music, you need to learn to connect to it as you would play your own music, and it has a lot of freedom within the frames of what the composer wanted. But that's what makes a performer unique. And you listen to some great pianists, and they're unique by the way they found the way to perform this piece that is true to them and makes it true to the listener. And in jazz music, I think sometimes people lacking the attention to the details in terms of performance that the classical music requires. So that's something that you learn from classical music as a pianist, in terms of the sound, in terms of the touch, because in classical music we really mainly focus on how to play, because what to play is given by the composer. So it's understanding, but mainly how to play it. And in jazz music, we're much more focused on what to play, and sometimes tend to forget how to play it.
Yeah.
So ideally, in jazz music, you should be a composer and performer at the same time, and blend it all together.
Tell me, please, do you love your students?
I do.
Good. Good. You know, because
Some of them I want to kill them.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you know, in my time being a student, you know, you always wanna that your teacher part of your life, understanding you and giving the best for you.
I'm sorry, guys. You know, we have to wrap it up because it's only 2 minutes. I know you're married, yeah?
I am.
What's the name of your?
Anna.
Anna, and you have 2 kids?
2 kids,
Boy?
Evan and Daniela.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. This is probably you're just stuck in more in Boston because of family and everything. Tell me 1 minute, you know, about your CD, because we have to just, you know.
That is CD I grabbed, I recorded a couple of years ago with some wonderful musicians that some of them are not here, some of them moved to New York, some of them moved to Korea. There's a great bass player from Korea and a great drummer, Eric Du, now from New York. It was a combination of my music and some arrangements. There's actually an arrangement of Israeli song, Erev Shel Shoshanim.
Oh, then wonderful.
As well as some original composition and some of my arrangements of like.
So where people can buy this?
You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on CD Baby.
Oh,
you
wonderful.
Can probably most iTunes, all those stores. It's available
wonderful,
there.
wonderful, so excellent. Do you know, we have a small tradition, you know, in our gala show. We'd like to give you some gift.
Wow,
I know
thank
you will
so
be
much.
both might be excited. My husband, he's a big collector of the music.
wow.
You know LP, of course, you know you love it.
Wow.
Sergey, can tell me a bit more.
Rick Wakeman, there is 1973 release.
Wow.
And I think you'll
You'll be
will
pleased
enjoy
with
it.
this.
I absolutely will. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
so
having
much,
me.
Max. Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
You know,
Thank you,
because
my
we are
pleasure.
so proud of, because you're from Odessa, from
Thank you.
Ukraine. We
You're
came this
special
way.
because
you are special.
Yes,
and you have a success, you know. And dear viewers, please check his website. Check and learn how to build your life, how to be persistent. It doesn't matter, you know, when you started 24, 45s, only in America can happen. Goodbye. And today it's the host Galina Kuptsova and my husband Sergey Kuptsov and Max LUBARSKY.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.